Hello from London, language learners. I'm here in the park. I'm actually on my way over to the farmers market, and I thought maybe I'd take you with me and share a bit of an update. It's been 4 months since I've done an update on the channel, and we can talk about how language learning is going for me and for you. And also I've got a bit of news about things here on the channel. This is actually the walled garden here in the local park, mainly herbaceous. I've taken a bit of a detour just to show you around. It is beautiful all times of year, but particularly I think in high summer. Let's talk about my Japanese first. I've been learning since the beginning of 2019 actually. And over the last 3 years, really, I have been trying to do about half an hour a day. It goes up and down, but I have managed to be quite regular, actually, with those steady study slots, if I can say that. Basically, what I've been doing is two things. A lot of listening still to podcasts, and there are some great Japanese-only podcasts and YouTube channels actually for learners. And I decided that I would go back to my old technique of using flashcards to build a core vocabulary. So I've actually been flashcarding the textbook for quite a few months and reading through it, reviewing it and so on. And that is what I'm continuing to do. Do you like using a key course to provide a sort of route map and backbone when you're learning a language? It's certainly something that I've always found really helpful. What about flashcarding? Do you like doing that? Are you still like me, a bit of a dinosaur who likes to do it with paper flashcards, or do you actually enjoy the apps for your testing with flashcards? These are the community gardens where you can actually buy plants, and they run educational events too. The language that I have going actively at an intermediate level is Basque, which I've been learning for many years, since 2013 actually. I have been doing something actively on the study side every week, usually having lessons, one-to-one conversation for half an hour or an hour online via Skype with a teacher. But also going in and out of my different textbooks. I never use flashcarding to build up the Basque vocabulary, and it was something of a reaction to that and just how much time and money I spent on one-to-one talking at the beginning stages that really has influenced how I'm approaching Japanese now. One of the challenges with Basque over the years actually has been finding the course for me. I suppose there isn't one ideal course, is there, which is why I tend to end up with all languages combining a couple of different self-study courses, but I've found it particularly difficult to find good explanations of the rather complicated conditional tenses, the baldinsak. So this weekend actually I spent 3 hours yesterday going through my different textbooks and trying to get a handle on understand the system. I always like to positively understand what's going on to help me break through this problem. You know, I always start to stutter when I come up with these constructions, so I thought now I'm really going to get on top of this, and I've been going through the books. But I really do enjoy my Basque, and I'm finding I understand more and more of the radio, what I listen to every day really. It's native level radio rather than learner material. My advanced Russian I'm keeping going at the moment, mainly by watching YouTube videos on current affairs, actually people often talking about the crisis in Ukraine in Russian. So I tend to listen maybe for 10-20 minutes or so after lunch on the days when I'm working at home with a nice coffee. And one of the things I do is I play the videos at 1.5 times speed, which only saves time. I think it's a good way to really put you through your paces with intermediate and advanced languages. Portuguese is a language I started learning many years ago because there are many Portuguese-speaking people in this part of London. Now, the way I keep it up really at the moment is by eating pastries and cakes and enjoying coffees in Portuguese cafes. I don't know whether that counts as language practice, because I tend not to say very much. But the waiter at my regular cafe last Saturday morning told me that there was a Madeira Day festival going on nearby that weekend, so I went to check that out at Dia de Madeira, and there were quite a few Portuguese, 7,000 I'd say had turned up, and it was good to have a look around. It makes you realise just how much is going on with the different language communities on the example of Portuguese here in London. I've been fluent in Welsh for 3 decades plus now, and I use the language every day. Listening to the radio, contributing occasionally to the radio, scrolling on Twitter, WhatsApping with friends, and every year I like to go to the National Eisteddfod, which is a week of Welsh cultural celebrations in a different part of Wales each August, and this year it's going to be in the Llŷn Peninsula in northwest Wales. So I've actually now booked a hotel, booked my train ticket, and I will be going there in about 3 weeks' time. Very much looking forward to it, to use my Welsh. You know, one of the things I bang on about is how having a sort of calendar, an annual rhythm to your language learning can really help when you're learning over the long term. And the Eisteddfod has definitely been that for me with Welsh over the years. I listen to German every day. I get most of my news actually through listening to German radio on an app on the phone. The radio from Frankfurt mainly. I found there were too many traffic updates in the Berlin one. And yeah, that's great for my listening practice constantly, of course. I'm reading novels, reading something in German most of the time. And of course, because I publish my own 2 German courses now, links underneath, I'm working on content, materials, thinking about the language a lot, most days really. The farmers market is on every Sunday morning basically, and it really transforms the area just outside the station. The most recent videos here on the channel have been my belated vlogs from last year's Polyglot gathering in Poland, and since then the gathering has happened again. I was over in Warsaw and then just outside for the gathering itself in the middle of June, had a great time, and I shot some more footage. It won't be daily vlogs this time, but there will be something a bit different and interesting coming up on the channel from Teresin in Poland. Of course, one of the topics people were talking about was AI and the influence of AI on language learning, particularly, of course, ChatGPT. But not only that, I've been playing around a bit with the app, and I've had some initial thoughts. Have you started using AI yet in your language learning? It could really be incredibly revolutionary. What do you think? Would you like to see me exploring a bit in that area? And talking of language learning events, the next one for me will be the Polyglot Conference, which is in Budapest this year. Well, I do love Budapest. I haven't been since 2015, so I'm looking forward to that. Now, in connection with that, I've decided to start reviving my Hungarian. I've never really talked about Hungarian here on the channel, but I did actually get to a sort of basic conversational level a long time ago, actually probably over 20 years ago. I did a lot of work on the language, so there's a lot there lying dormant. I'm going to try and revive it. One of the things I've been talking about for years is actually doing more direct language teaching on YouTube, and I am now getting pretty close to an announcement of a new project which will be focused on German, at least initially, and stuff should start happening pretty soon. So I'm busy working away behind the scenes, and that just leaves one thing really for me, which is to call into the cafe for that treat. It's going to be an almond horseshoe, one of the things I used to love guzzling on when I lived in Germany. Maybe not so good for the waistline, but a nice way for me actually to end this walk through the park and to the farmers market. So thanks for being with me. Let me know how your language learning is going in the comments, and see you soon here on the channel. Bye!